Hi everyone, welcome back to another gameplay of Infinitode 2. So in this video guys, I'm going to talk about high scores and all the tips and tricks that I've come to know just by playing out the game on how to get higher and higher scores. So there are different parameters in the game that can influence the high score that you can achieve. And so I'm gonna go through all of them. I'm gonna briefly explain to them, and then I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks to be able to get higher scores. Now, high scores are not really that useful in terms of what you gain, because of the fact that once you can achieve the trophy, when you get 1 million score on any map, and you get the trophy, that's pretty much it. The only other thing that you gain out of getting high scores is like your position in the leaderboard, and that's it. So you don't really gain anything out of high scores. So now, what can influence your score? First of all, the difficulty that you're playing on. So if you're playing on easy, your score will be lower. If you're playing on normal, your score will be normal. If you're playing on endless, your score will be high. So the higher the difficulty, the higher the score you can achieve. It's pretty simple, and it scales up with how hard the enemies are and how many prizes you get for each game. Because of the fact that the second parameter that's going to hugely influence your score is how many resources were you able to get in that particular gameplay. The higher the amount of resources you can achieve, the higher your score becomes. It's directly proportionate. So more resources equal more score and higher score. And so the fact that you can see here the prices are also 50% stronger than in normal when you're playing on endless. It means that you're getting more resources, you're getting more green papers, you're getting more coins as you are calling the next wave, and so your high score also gets higher and higher. So definitely playing on endless is your first step when you're trying to go for that high score. Second thing, as I said, are the resources that you're able to mine in that particular level. Third thing is research. Now here with the research, it's a lot of things. So how strong your towers are will make you able to survive longer, and by surviving longer, you're gonna be able to get higher scores, right? So that's pretty simple. But it's not just that; it's also about the how many cash you have at the starting of each game, how many lives you can afford to lose, how much bonus in terms of cash you're getting by calling the next wave faster, and so all these things will also influence your overall high score. It's not just the offensive parameters. And then on this tree right here in the top side, there are some very important things that will also hugely influence your high score, because of the fact that here, for example, the miners, the more miners you have, the more you can place, the more resources you can get, the higher your score. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the mining speed for each miner. The higher it is, the more resources you get, the higher your score is. And also here we're talking about also abilities, how many abilities you can use in a single gameplay, how strong those abilities are, also hugely impacts your game, especially because of the fact that abilities are a must, especially in the late game, because of the fact that otherwise you will not be able to survive. Your towers can level up and can become powerful up to a certain point, but then the enemies will have more and more HP, and at a certain point you will do no damage with your towers to the enemies. So the only way to survive is with abilities. So that's why here the more abilities you have, the stronger they are. Will also mean that you can also get higher scores. And now talking about abilities, I'm gonna just show you here the best abilities in my opinion, and also like in the community that you must always have to get high scores. And then there are some abilities that can be changed depending on the map that you're playing. Now there are 4 abilities that you always want to have whenever you're going for high scores. That is Windstorm, Magnet, Firestorm, and Nuke. Windstorm and Magnet are needed when you're playing on maps with 1 or at least 2 or just 2 boros, right? So not too many boros, and it's very important in order to get your maximum DPS score high. And why is maximum DPS important? Because of the fact that all your abilities will do damage, percentage damage, based on that maximum DPS. So the higher that is, the more damage your abilities will do. It's quite simple. But in order to get high amount of DPS, so it's damage per second, you need Magnet. It is an essential tool to gain high amount of maximum DPS, and in combination with Windstorm, so you're pushing enemies backwards, you're letting them stack one on top of each other, and then by using Magnet you can achieve a very high amount of maximum DPS, and in that way your abilities become stronger. Then Firestorm and Nuke are the only 2 global abilities in the game, so that's why they are needed, because they're gonna affect all the enemies. Firestorm is a damage over time, instead Nuke is an instant damage, and yeah, it affects all the enemies. So yeah, 2 abilities that must always be taken. Now talking about the last 2 spots, as I said, depending on the map you're playing, you may want to change this. So normally what I like to go with is Fireball and Smoke Bomb. So these are 2 abilities that are gonna be local, so you have to click on the spot, and Smoke Bomb is gonna last for a certain amount of time and it's gonna do damage. Fireball is instant damage plus some burning effect. But in some maps it may be better to instead go for Ball Lightning. So this ability also is quite strong. This ball just moves in the map, destroying the nearest enemies, and it's gonna also last time. And then also Loic as well, it's another very strong ability, especially on those maps where there is a portion of the path that has a long vertical line, and yeah, because the Loic is just a vertical laser, so also this one very strong. And you can see that every ability will have stats. So this here, for example, 70% in 11 seconds. The more research you have, the more this damage and this duration will be. So that's why, as I said before, the research is going to also influence your high score. And now here there is a trick that just recently I was able to find it. That is this option right here, instant auto wave calls. This is an option that you can activate or deactivate, and this will hugely affect your high score, and I'm gonna just show you in a moment what this means. So now I'm gonna activate it. All right, I'm gonna go here into yeah, let's just play in this one just because it's the last level I've been trying to complete the quest. And auto wave call, instant auto wave call, means that once I'm activate the auto button here, the next wave will come out as soon as it's ready. So the game will not wait for me to destroy the enemies from the previous wave. The enemies will just come out. So here, see, as this number reaches 0, the next wave is coming out. So here I'm just playing with this um, with this on, so this option is on, and I'm gonna just play the first 15 waves, sorry, here. So as soon as I destroy these enemies, I'm gonna just stop the all right, I'm gonna stop the video here, and now you can see that the score I was able to get is 6.9, right? See the score right here. So the first 15 waves with this option on is 6.9. Now I'm gonna just go into the settings and I'm gonna deactivate this option, and look what happens. So I'm gonna now replay the same level. I'm gonna get the same towers placed in the same way. I'm gonna upgrade them in the same exact way, and I want you to look at the score. So now again, auto, see here the button, but now with this option off, the next wave will come out only after I have destroyed all the enemies from the previous one. So that's the difference in terms of how the option works. So here I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna just place 2 freezing towers here, 1 blast there, splash here, and then at the beginning of wave 10 I'm gonna upgrade splash level 3, and now I'm gonna just wait wave 15, and let's see the high score. (14, 15). So let's see, as soon as I destroy all these enemies, let's see the score. Here we go, 10.8. So before it was 6.8, now it's 10.8. So it's 4,000 higher just by changing the small option. And now at the beginning I just couldn't understand why this huge change, like in just 15 waves, 4,000 more score. Imagine like in 150, in 300 waves. And the only solution, like the only reason I could find why this option changes that much the score, is because when you have this option deactivated, the next wave will come out only when you destroy all the enemies, right? And so in doing so, you get also more coins, because you get a certain amount of coins and cash in game depending on how fast you can destroy a certain wave. So the faster you can destroy it, and the faster you can call the other wave, the more coins you will get. What happens when you have this option on is the fact that the next wave will come out automatically even if you haven't destroyed all the enemies, and so you get like 0 coins. And I think that's the only reason why when you have this option on, your score is lower. So yeah, that's a trick, because it's not really something that you could think affects the high score that much. And now, as it is for tips, I'm gonna just show you here a very easy level, level 1.8. I'm not going to use any abilities. I'm just going to show you the beginning on what should be your focus when you are trying to get a high score. Now, there are certain things that you always want to do that are important when you're going for the high score. So first of all is start the game with a tower, all right? And now with a tower, with the least amount of towers possible. So don't place a lot of towers, just place the ones that you need. So here I think I'm gonna go with a yeah, let's just have an example here. Let's just have a freezing tower, it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna have 2 here like this, all right? Then I'm gonna upgrade cannon level 2, and then I'm gonna start placing bounties. All right, so when you're going for the high score, the first thing is just place the towers that you need to, well, first of all, because this is endless, I'm placing some towers to not let the enemies reach the portal too fast. So that's of course one thing you always need to remember. So just the amount of towers necessary to destroy everything. Um, and the first thing you need to start looking for is place bounties. Bounties are essential for your strategy to succeed. And without bounties, you cannot really hope on getting a lot of cash early, and then getting all the upgrades that you want, getting all the towers that you want, and so on. So now this is just an example, as I said. So I'm just using one offensive tower with the help of a blast tower, and I'm just destroying everything here, and I'm just placing bounties. So the first tip that I can give to you whenever you're trying to achieve a high score is focus on the bounties first. Right, so here this enemy is gonna leak or whatever. So probably here I may need another tower. Let's just place another cannon, why not? So just to block the enemies from going this way. So first tip, focus on bounties. Don't place a lot of towers unless needed to like block enemies, and just focus on getting the bounties. In this case, this is my 4th. I will go for my 5th here, then 6th up here, and probably 7th here. I have 7 total bounties, so I always try to place all of them if possible. Alright, so let's get another one here. Oh, oops, through the boss here. Alright, so I had to level up the cannon a little bit there. Right, another bounty, and then last one, as I said, here. And now once you start placing the bounties, it's very important that you try to keep the minimum amount of cash, so that you always have the maximum amount of coins that the bounties are giving to you. So just take a consideration for that, right? And now second thing, so once you have placed all the bounties like this, I placed all the bounties I could. Now second step is placing the miners. Remember, the more resources you can get in a game, the higher the score will be. Now there's also an important thing that you need to remember when you're playing miners, that lower resources are gonna be mined faster than stronger ones. So Infiar will be mined very slowly compared to Scalar. So when you have, for example, like this resource right here, so it has 60 Scalar, 20 Vector, and 20 Matrix. Here I don't even think about placing a matrix, because if you see here the speed of mining, 9.6, 8.9, 8.3, so it's not very high. Instead, if I look at the Scalar here, see that the base speed is 13, so this already giving me it's like 3.2 resources more for each second that I get with this one. So every time that is possible, go with the lowest resource possible and the lowest miners. In this case, it's just Vector, so there is no point in placing a Scalar here because I would not mine anything, so I need Vector, and that's the 3 miners placed. Let's continue here. Whenever I can just place here something to increase the speed, right? So some modifiers. Now here I think I'm gonna start leveling up something. Oh wow, I got a legendary blueprint. I was very lucky. So let's place here another one. And this one right here is the Scalar that has the highest amount of resources. So this is the one I will start maxing. And it's very important upgrading it fast, so upgrading it as fast as possible, because in that way you can start getting more and more resources, and your high score also becomes higher. So I think here I messed up, so I'm gonna just relocate all the bounties. Alright, and this level. So I'm gonna sell this 900. Where is 600? There's one of 400. Okay, so I'm gonna now here I'm gonna just place them again, but I'm gonna just leave the spot there so that I can get all right, here we go, so that I can get a mining speed right here, or a modifier. Second scalar is right here, so in this case is 100, and you can see 7.9. So it's 9.5 here, 16.4, so definitely going for this one. Second, now here I have to always pay attention to if my towers are able to destroy all the enemies fast enough. So in this case I'm gonna just level up the cannon a little bit here, maybe upgrading freezing tower as well, but then just going back and focusing on getting the miners, and that's it. So first thing, bounties. Second thing, resources. And then once you can max all the resources as fast as you can, then you try to start focusing on the maximum DPS. So start getting it as high as possible, leveling up your offensive towers, and once you can have a maximum DPS that you like, or you think it's enough to survive for as long as you want, then you sell everything and you just place blast towers that are gonna be very important to being able to survive long enough. And then when you need to, you just use an ability, you just clean up, and then you start again, and so on. So here I'm gonna start, I got this one, I'm gonna start getting this one. There are no other resources, so I cannot really do anything else right here. I could place here a missile just to start leveling it up, why not? Alright, and you can see already my score, 150,000. It may not seem much, but in a map like this one, it's not bad. Okay, I can level it up one more, and yeah, so on. So this was just an example here of the progress. So all the tips in game, how you can get like the order of things that you need to get in order to then being able to get a higher score. And that was it, guys. So that was the video. I hope you enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.